Violence continues to plague Philadelphia and other cities across the country since, let's talk about Philly though, since Thursday, about 50 people were shot in separate shootings. 9 of those people are dead. The latest involving a man wearing a fake police badge.
So we want to bring in Commissioner Danielle Outlaw this morning. Thank you for joining us.
Rough weekend for sure, another one. Real quickly, do you have an update on this guy with the fake badge?
Well, you know, this was a robbery in progress, a home invasion, and the occupants of the home pretty much took up arms and defended themselves.
Had a license to carry?
Well, I'm not. It just happened, so you know it's still unfolding. Yes, the investigation is still unfolding, but it's just unfortunate all the way around.
We're going to try to get to as many questions as possible from the viewers, and thank you for sending so many in.
Before we get to that really quickly, though, because we are seeing more instances of this happening, whether it's carjackings, home invasions, of people taking it upon themselves to defend themselves and bring out guns. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, especially as we see the crime that we've been having recently.
Yeah, I think you guys asked me that before, and you know, I'm not a proponent for people going out and purchasing firearms, but you know, if you're licensed to carry, if you're carrying them illegally, you have the right to protect yourself. We just ask that they're properly stored, that they train with them and they know how to use it.
Okay, let's get to some questions from you.
Yeah, so our first one from Kevin Williams, and he says, Commissioner, I recently saw a list of cities with an uptick in violent crimes, and Philly wasn't on that list. Where does Philadelphia currently stand in comparison to other big cities?
I consider that an honor, right, to not see Philadelphia on the list. But for those of us who live here, we know what it really is like all day, every day. I will tell you that, you know, our numbers, it's no secret that our numbers last year significantly spiked. And it's not unlike any other major city in the country. We're starting to see a downward trend that we were kind of seeing at the end of the year last year, but crime is still an issue. Regardless of where the numbers are and where we compare to other cities, it's definitely something that we have to pay attention to.
Who live here, we believe we're #1 in crime.
No, we're not #1.
But we're not #1, but it does seem that way.
There's just so much that's been happening.
Let's get to another viewer question here. A very simple, real short. Who is accountable for all these murders? I'm sorry, I thought we were going to put those. Go ahead.
No, all good. I think we all are. I think we have to start looking at crime in Philadelphia as an ecosystem. Public safety is an ecosystem. It's not just the police. It's not just the administration. It's also community. It's all of the social services providers. It's also the other stakeholders in the criminal justice system. So it's not any one entity, but I think because folks see us the most, we tend to go to the police and say, well, what's being done about it and how are we being held accountable? But I think we all have a part to play in this for sure.
And do you think there's enough cohesion? Do you think there's enough working together with this?
We're getting there. I will definitely say it's a lot better than where we were 2 years ago, but certainly there's still a lot more wiggle room for folks to step up and do their part, to be quite frank.
A lot of people want a state of emergency declared. Let's put up another one here.
It says, we are in a state of emergency. Where is the help? Our black kids and young men are dying. And are you scared for your sons and relatives?
You know, I don't want to say that I'm afraid, but I'm definitely a mom. And, you know, I'm hypersensitive regardless of, you know, I lived here or not. But all of that to say, my sons are at an age 23 and almost 21, actually this week. And they're at an age where they're out and about. So absolutely, I do have some anxiety about them going out and about and being on their own. But I don't think we should live in fear. I don't think we should invoke unnecessary fear. Go out and do, you know what you do. But when we talk about state of emergency, I think what a state of emergency does is say, again, this has to be a holistic, comprehensive approach. And that's what we've been doing on our end, making sure that we work with everybody in the system.
What kicks into effect when you say it's a state of emergency?
Well, I don't think that's a question for me to answer. That would be something for the administration to invoke. But, you know, just depending on where you are, there's questions around whether or not that would bring additional funds. We already work with local, state, and federal partners. So on our end, on the law enforcement end, again, we're pulling tabs. We're pulling all the levers and working with every possible resource we can.
What about more humans to help, like the state police or the National Guard?
So more to come around the state police, but I will tell you the National Guard is the military, right? And there's different rules of engagement. So when you bring the military in to patrol municipal streets, there's different rules there, which is why we use them so infrequently.
Okay, because I think in some of the comments we received, a lot of people are concerned that as the weather gets warmer and school lets out, that it might get worse, and so they're saying, what are we doing now to prepare for summer or when it starts to warm up?
Again, for us, it's, not only preparing as far as working with those who are providing the programming, ensuring that there's security and safety to and from recreation centers. A lot of the places where our young people are gathering is high visibility, it's presence, it's making sure we have force multipliers, working with private security and all of those other neighboring police agencies to make sure that we have presence. But yes, spring and summer, it's not just the summer, it's the spring as well, where the weather is getting better and we know we need to be as best prepared as possible.
Last week, we've talked a lot about ghost guns. We could do an hour on ghost guns, and we know that's a problem. Let's move on to something else here. People are also giving you suggestions. Flood these high crime areas with cops for 24/7. Just keep them coming.
Agreed. So actually,
and
that's what our strategy is. And I think, unfortunately, we don't have the same number of officers that we've had over the years to sustain that. So while some neighborhoods may see, their areas flooded with cops for an extended period of time, we may have to move on to the next. And that's when we rely upon the other partners, our social services, to come in and simultaneously flood those areas at the same time.
When we ask for questions, you know what you're going to get. Here's one. How come we never see you, even though you and Alex see each other a lot? It's always a spokesperson.
I don't really know how to answer that question. We have a public information officer. That's his role. That's what he does. I'm out front when it's I don't want to say, every issue is important, but the day-to-day things, that's when you have a PIO. That's what their job, and that's what we do. We save our
public
visibility.
Information officer.
Yeah, we save our public appearances for those things that are the most crucial and critical.
And we should note, too, if you follow her on Twitter, you do tweet and you do put out information that way as well.
I do.
So that's something that you do as well.
And you're going to get this one every time that we open up the microphones here. When are you going to resign?
Oh, why would I do that? Really, that means every commissioner or police chief around the country would be doing the same thing. We're all dealing with the same thing. We're all dealing with a completely different landscape that any other police chief had to deal with 2 years ago. And we're comparing notes and doing everything that we can, actually, to put it in.
Real quickly, a curfew.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think that a curfew might work.
So there is a curfew, depending on age. There are resource centers throughout the city for young people to go to. And again, this is something that's scalable, that has to be scaled up over time. And, I credit the council members specifically. I can think of Kathy Gilmore Richardson that really championed the curfew centers to make sure not only are young people going to them, but they have resources and, resources to tap into once they are there. So it just needs to be brought to scale.
Can you still do the town hall this week?
Yep, I will be there.
Okay, because we want more time because we have a ton more questions. So Bill Anderson and I will be hosting this town hall. Our Commissioner Outlaw will be one of the guests. Mazzy Casher, who I know pretty well from Philly Truce, and trauma surgeon Dr. Jessica Beard. So join us. By the way, if you have more questions, keep using the hashtag Fox29GoodDay on Twitter especially. And our town hall will air 10:30 this Friday evening. We're coming right back.